The mistress suffered from kidney failure. Xu Ji-chu insisted on donating her kidney. I secretly hid the kidney transplant test results. Unfortunately, the results were inconsistent. Unable to bear the pain of the illness, the mistress committed suicide in despair. After the wedding, the first thing Xu Ji-chu did was to put drugs in my drinking water, damaging my kidneys, causing me to lose my life and harming my entire family. Mostly your life is to pay for her. When I opened my eyes again, it was the day I received the kidney transplant results. I sincerely presented the test results to him. Xu Ji-chu, the feelings between you and her are truly earth-shattering and make people cry. Then please donate your kidney to her. I died before I was 30. No accident, no serious illness, just because Xu Ji-chu didn't want me to live. He put poison in my drinking water. Day after day, year after year, the toxins gradually corroded my kidneys. I lay on the hospital bed, blood gushing from my mouth, flowing onto the white bed, spreading like dead flowers. But Xu Ji-chu still thought I was dying too slowly. He stepped hard on my oxygen tube, trying to prevent any oxygen from entering my body. I was so suffocated that I couldn't speak. I opened my mouth painfully, asking why. My father was the founding father of the Hua group. He and I grew up together. From the time we fell in love until we got married, my parents always took care of him and wholeheartedly supported his career. Even when his father passed away, he sat in the position of chairman of the Hua group. My parents still firmly supported him, making the other veteran shareholders not dare to object. But when he was firmly on the throne, he set a trap to push my father out of the board of directors. My father went to find him to reason with him, and in the end he died right in his office. The cause was concluded to be a sudden cerebral hemorrhage. My mother was so heartbroken that her spirit collapsed. She became insane and had to be sent to a mental hospital. Not only that, my brother was also set up by him, falsely accused of embezzlement, and was sent to prison. I am his wife. Why did he harm me? I stared at him with wide eyes. Tears fell from Hua Ji-chu's eyes, drop by drop, onto the pillow beside my ear. Me. I could even hear the crackling sound. The one who was terminally ill was me, but the one who seemed to be dying was him. It was her who had killed Yuan Yuan. He screamed as if he wanted to tear me apart. Gu Yuan ex-girlfriend, Xu Ji-chu's first love. It had been years since I had heard that name. Since the day she died, Xu Ji-chu had never mentioned her name again. I thought he had forgotten, but he had always kept it in mind. It was because she hid the kidney transplant results that she had committed suicide in despair. I wanted to laugh, but my throat was like a small child making a hoarse, extremely difficult sound. I had been afraid that he would collapse. I had not wanted him to become disabled, but in the end, he saw me as the culprit, blaming Gu Yuan's death on me. Xu Ji-chu, I truly regretted hiding it for you. A mouthful of fresh blood spurted from my mouth, spraying straight onto Xu Ji-chu's face. That was the last image I saw before I left this world. Thu, what's wrong with you? Why is your face so pale? The taste of blood in your mouth has disappeared. The pain in your whole body is gone. Even your breathing is light. Your eyes are brighter. In front of me is a cold white color. People are bustling back and forth. I was reborn. Perhaps God had mercy on me, giving me another chance to live again. Not only that, I also returned to the day Xu Ji-chu received the results of his kidney transplant with Gu Yuan. At this time, my brother had just finished studying abroad, received his doctorate in medicine, and returned home. My parents were still healthy and safe, and I had not yet married Xu Ji-chu. Have you heard of it? Yesterday, CEO Xu had an argument with his parents because of an old love, insisted on breaking up with Mosi, and even stayed with Gu Yuan all night. Not far away, there were a few nurses chatting away completely without any intention of avoiding it, as if they were afraid that I wouldn't hear. My best friend was angry and wanted to step forward to argue on my behalf, but I raised my hand to stop him. Xu Ji-chu didn't simply argue with his parents because of breaking up with me. On a business trip, He accidentally met his first love after many years of separation, his mistress. The two old lovers came without invitation, entangled endlessly. She lived a miserable life, overworked, leading to kidney failure, and could only prolong her life with medication every day. The old love came back. Shuji-chu pitied her and took her back to take care of her. Not only did he want to break up with me, but also wanted to do a kidney transplant test to donate to her. These past few days, he had argued with his parents over this countless times. What a scumbag! He really didn't know what to do. He was determined to stay with a sick person who didn't have much time to live. He didn't need a man like this. My best friend was angry on my behalf. I held her hand, smiling gratefully. I understood that she was heartbroken on my behalf. This morning, I woke up in my room. It only took a few hours for me to clearly remember everything that had happened in my previous life. Shoo, that scumbag is here. My best friend gently shook my hand and whispered a reminder. I looked over and saw Shuji-chu wearing a tailored light grey suit walking this way, escorted by a group of doctors and nurses. Shuji-chu and I had known each other since we were young. The feelings between us used to be very deep. When I was little, whenever a boy bullied me, he would always rush in and fight back without hesitation. All the silly things he did, I hid them for him without fail. When everyone around thought that the person Shuji-chu loved the most was me, he brought home a girlfriend. However, that relationship was strongly opposed by the Shu family, so it quickly fell apart. That girl left in her youth. After that, Shuji-chu turned around and confessed to me. Everyone congratulated him, thinking that I would definitely become his wife. But now he brought his first love back. Because of her serious illness, Gu Yuan's face was pale, weakly leaning against Shuji-chu's chest. She was already a beauty, but now that she was sick, her fragile beauty was even more evident. The kind of beauty with illness makes anyone who sees her feel heartbroken. Even I felt a little moved by her fragile beauty. Shuji-chu looked like he was in a very good mood, completely free of the tension and anger from yesterday when he argued with his parents. He hugged Gu Yuan tightly, whispered something in her ear, and made her giggle. He even pretended to hit him lightly. But as soon as he turned around, Gu Yuan's eyes met mine. The smile on the corner of her lips instantly froze. Her bright eyes flashed with panic and unease. She walked towards me. Even though the distance was only a few steps, she walked extremely slowly. Before she could get close, she suddenly collapsed to the ground. Yuan Shuji-chu rushed over anxiously, helping her up and hugging her tightly. It was heartbreaking to see every little frown on Shuji-chu's face, no different from her previous life. Shuji-chu's feelings for Gu Yuan made me feel bitter, but I never hated her. I didn't have to marry Shuji-chu at all costs. But because of our relationship from childhood to adulthood, I sincerely hope that he can live a healthy and peaceful life. So I tried my best to advise him. Chi-chu, I know you love her and feel sorry for her, but you can't use your health to make up for it like that. If you donate a kidney, your body will really collapse and your parents will be heartbroken to death. Right now, Gu Yuan's condition is not serious enough to require a kidney transplant. Let's wait a little longer, find another suitable organ source, no matter how much money is spent. But my words could not awaken Shuji-chu's reason. Reluctantly, I hid the kidney transplant result, pretending to say, unfortunately, the result is not suitable. Thanks to that, I saved his life, but the price I had to pay was the destruction of my entire family. Just like in my previous life in public, she suddenly knelt down in front of me. But this time, I no longer had the heart to help her up. I just stood there coldly watching her plea, calmly observing her next actions. Shushu, many people are watching. My best friend was worried that I would be criticized. I softly reminded her, patting her hand. Family name, don't worry. Miss Mac, Chi-chu and I have sincere feelings. Please help us make it happen. It's my fault. If you feel dissatisfied, just blame me. Don't blame him. Uyan, stand up. There's no need to beg her like that. It's me loving you. It's me wanting to break up with her. Shu Chu's face had two emotions at the same time: gentle pity for Gu Yuan and cold anger for me. It was the first time I realized that face was really that ugly. He forcefully pulled Gu Yuan up, rolled up her pants. In just a few seconds, her knees were bruised. The surrounding people started to gossip. This Miss Mo is really too hard-hearted. No wonder CEO Shu doesn't like her. I didn't care. I still calmly watched Gu Yuan continue his act. She gritted her teeth and once again knelt down in front of me, tears streaming down like a broken bridge. I felt a little tired, so I sat down on the soft chair beside me. I wanted to see how long this play of Gu Yuan's would last. I missed it in my previous life. This life I must watch it carefully. Everything that was happening was nothing more than a play directed by Gu Yuan himself. Even after being reborn in this life, I still felt a little regretful about Gu Yuan's death in my previous life. However, just an hour ago, when I went to the hospital to get the results of Shuji Zhou and Gu Yuan's kidney transplant in advance, I accidentally overheard a conversation between her and a doctor. The doctor was tall and thin, his back was facing me, so I couldn't see his face. I only heard Gu Yuan's voice urgently begging, "Please help me, just this one more time. Okay, please don't let them know that I'm really not sick, otherwise all my efforts will be in vain. I'm also at my wit's end. The Shu family will not accept me as their daughter-in-law at all. If I don't use some tricks and deliberately create a fateful encounter to make Shu Jichu feel guilty, I will never have the chance to marry him. I really don't want to relive those poor days of my past. My only wish in this life is to become a rich lady, so that all those who used to look down on me will look at me with different eyes. Please help me just this one more time." I really didn't expect that a girl who looked harmless on the outside would have such a terrifying, calculating heart. She turned all of us into cows being led by the nose. No go. Being an actor is a waste of talent. I really don't understand what it is about Gu Yuan that makes Shu Jichu remember her forever, even willing to turn against her parents. Because of her. I was also there when Shu Jichu brought Gu Yuan to the Shu family home. For so many years, my parents only knew how to tell me not to do this, not to do that, but they never asked me what I really wanted. My parents always forced me to be rational, to look at the problem comprehensively, to come up with practical solutions to handle everything. But I'm also a human being. I'm not a robot. I also have feelings. Only Yuan has never forced me to do something I don't want to do. She also doesn't make me listen to long-winded theories. With her, I can be true to myself. With her, I know what freedom, happiness, and ease are. I have seriously thought about Shu Jichu's words. From the moment he was born, he was destined to become the successor of the Hua group. Therefore, he has always been subjected to strict education and training, and is rarely swayed by outside matters. As the heir, his every word and action represents Hua group. Many times, he is forced to suppress his emotions, forced to wear a mask to live. But has he ever thought that what Gu Yuan shows in front of him is not also another mask? Because she has a purpose, she deliberately indulges him. Once the purpose is achieved, that mask will be stripped off and replaced with another one. Moshu don't go too far. Hua Jichu finally couldn't hold it in any longer and shouted loudly. Gu Yuan looked at me with tears in her eyes, choking up and unable to speak. "Miss Mo, I beg you, let me and Zichu be together. Without him, I really couldn't live anymore." The surrounding area started to buzz with gossip again. The weak always get sympathy more easily. It was obvious that I was the one who was hurt, the one whose relationship was interrupted, but in the end, the one who was said to be too much was me. I became the one who ruined someone else's relationship. I still sat there silently, playing with my phone. I wanted to see how well Gu Yuan could act. Suddenly, she rushed towards the window, intending to jump off the building to commit suicide. The scene immediately became chaotic. Everyone hurriedly pulled her back. At this moment, I was really a bit stunned. Shuji Zhou hugged Gu Yuan tightly, coaxed her for a long time, then walked towards me with a sullen face. He snatched the phone from my hand. Bang Shu Ju Zhou threw my phone hard to the ground, shattering it into pieces. Mo Shu, we grew up together in my heart. You will always be a gentle, sympathetic girl. I've always treated you like my own sister, but I never expected you to be so cold and cruel. Hua Zhichu's words made my heart turn cold. Sister, how ridiculous! Can the feelings between us be erased with just 2 words, sister? Then it's considered an official breakup. I looked at Gu Yuan, who was pretending to be weak and gasping for breath with a scrutinizing gaze. In my previous life, after I announced the results of the kidney transplant test between Xu Jichu and Gu Yuan, she committed suicide that very day. She jumped from a high place, blood and brain matter splattered all over the ground. Back then, everyone rumored that Gu Yuan chose to end her life because she was so desperate that she couldn't bear the pain of her illness. After she died, Xu Jichu remained silent for a long time. I used to think that he couldn't accept reality, so he was immersed in grief. I didn't expect that he would propose to me just the next day. I thought that his feelings for Gu Yuan were only that much because men are inherently heartless. But thinking back, it turned out that he was so eager to marry me just to kill me early to take revenge on the woman he loved. It was because he couldn't help but marry Yuan. If you're dissatisfied, then just vent it all. Up to you. Why do you have to force her to this extent? I really don't want to argue with Hua Chi-chu anymore. Uncle Hua is upstairs, right? Hua Chi-chu is using people. What are you going to do? This hospital is a private hospital invested by the Huathi Group. Today is also the 20th anniversary of its establishment. Surely not only Uncle Hua, but also the senior leadership of Huati is present, including my father. I stood up and quickly walked towards the stairs. Hua Chi-chu immediately blocked in front of me. I'm telling you, it's useless to beg your father. I will definitely marry Uyen. No one can change my decision. I laughed coldly. Hua Chi-chu, you will definitely get what you want. Perhaps because my smile was too gloomy, the words he was about to say were immediately choked. His whole body froze in place. I pushed the door and entered the conference room. The atmosphere in the room became serious and tense. Because of my sudden appearance, the entire leaders all turned to look at my father's face, a look of annoyance flashing across his face. He stood up and sternly scolded, "Mo Shu, you are too rude." Uncle Hua Guanping smiled and signaled for my father to sit down. He has always been very gentle with me. Shu, what's the matter that you are in such a hurry? I bowed my head deeply and said solemnly, Uncle Hua, you once said that if we could meet in this life, we would have to look back at each other 500 times in our previous life. Xu Jichu and Miss Guyen truly love each other. Their feelings are so deep touching that even heaven and earth are moved. I really can't bear to separate them. I beg you to promise to let me and Xu Jichu break up to make things perfect for the two of them. Then I turned back to look at Xu Jichu, took out the kidney transplant test results, and brought them in front of him with both hands. Xu Jichu, congratulations! The kidney transplant is successful quickly. Donate your kidney to Miss Gu. This test was secretly done by Xu Jichu, hidden from everyone. Even Mr. Xu Guanping didn't know. He immediately grabbed the teacup on the table and threw it straight at Xu Jichu. The teacup grazed his forehead, leaving a trail of bright red blood. You bastard who gave you permission to do a kidney transplant test on your own. Less than half a day later, all the big and small websites exploded with news. The CEO of Xu Corporation, Xu Jichu, secretly left because of old friendship. Kidney transplant test. Mo Shu's girlfriend angrily demanded to break up. Before Xu Jichu wanted to break up with me to be with his mistress Gu Yuan, which caused a stir in public opinion. Now I was the one who took the initiative to break up. Plus the news that he had successfully transplanted a kidney to his ex-lover was like an atomic bomb that blew up public opinion. On the internet, there were people praising Xu Jichu for being loyal and willing to sacrifice for his lover. There were also people who scolded him and Gu Yuan for being a cuckolding couple. Of course, there were also many who scolded me. Knowing that Xu Jichu had a mistress, he still deliberately interfered. Now the outcome was deserved. There were even people who took their lovers to the hospital to check if they were compatible. Why are you so stubborn? My father was so angry that his hair stood on end. I replied, "This is your marriage. If you want to break up, then break up, can't you? Do you think this marriage only concerns you? Do you know that this matter affects both your family and the Xu family?" I laughed helplessly. Does your father mean that you are just a tool to tie the relationship between the two families? My father heard that, and his tone softened. That's not what I meant, but you openly announced the test results like that. Have you thought about the Xu family? Have you thought about your family's reputation? Go apologize to your father tomorrow. Absolutely not, I firmly refused. Dad didn't see how Xu Jichu and Gu Yuan had humiliated me in front of so many people. If you're afraid of offending the Xu family, then go apologize to yourself. My dad pointed at my face and shook with anger. With this stubborn personality, let's see who would dare to marry me. I stubbornly replied, but there will be people who like this personality. My dad angrily turned around and left. Xu Jichu called. Mostly you deliberately revealed the kidney transplant results in front of so many people, right? I smiled faintly. Didn't you always insist on donating your kidney to Gu Yuan? Now your wish is fulfilled. Such a good thing. Why don't you sound happy at all? Have you thought about the consequences? What consequences? I only know that saving one life is better than building 7 towers. Xu Jichu, I'm helping you. Xu Jichu was silent. Only heavy breathing could be heard on the other end of the line. Finally, he hung up. I laughed coldly. Before the kidney transplant results, Xu Jichu could freely express his love sacrifice and even devote himself to the girl he loved. But once the results were clear, everything became an undeniable truth. Then he was riding a tiger and couldn't get off. Telling him to cut flesh from his body to save someone, could he still be as decisive as he had said? Thinking about how in my previous life I hid the kidney transplant results and was madly retaliated by Xu Jichu, I gritted my teeth and trembled with anger. What a hypocritical gentleman! Suddenly the phone rang again. There was no name saved, but the number was deeply engraved in my memory. At a coffee shop, the man across from me elegantly picked up his coffee cup and took a small sip. Seeing me just sitting there without touching the cup, he smiled and said softly, "Is the coffee not to Ms. Mack's taste?" I shook my head. I'm allergic to coffee. The man was slightly surprised and then smiled. Sorry, I was rude. I looked closely at the man in front of me. His smile made his facial features somewhat similar to Hua Jichu's, but not too obvious. Compared to Hua Jichu's arrogant appearance, this person seemed much more calm and elegant. I also read the story online. Miss Mo is really... He paused for a moment as if choosing the right words. Very decisive. I smiled faintly. Mr. Hua was really quick-witted. Otherwise, he wouldn't have contacted me so early. At that moment, the waiter brought out a portion of bitter melon milk dessert. I ordered this dish specifically for you. Try it. Does it have any meaning? Bitter at first, sweet at last. The man chuckled softly and reached out his hand towards me. Let me introduce myself. I'm Hua Yang King. I also reached out to shake his slender hand with distinct joints. I am Mo Xu. Everyone thinks that Xu Guanping and his wife have deep feelings for each other. They are a model couple. But no one knows that this is his second marriage. Xu Guanping's first wife started a business with him from nothing, working hard to take care of everything in the house. But when Xu Ti Group was just established and had some money, he got bored of rice and craved noodles. He had an affair with a beautiful young secretary who was also Xu Jichu's mother. The first wife was strong and resilient. In the end, she committed suicide in Xu Guanping's office with a white cloth, leaving behind her son, who was only 6 years old at that time, Xu Yang Kan. Later, Xu Guanping married the secretary and used the excuse that seeing his eldest son reminded him of his ex-wife, and in his heart, he was tormented to send Xu Yankan abroad as if in exile. This was something my mother had secretly told me it was a secret that was sealed forever within Shuthi Group, only those in the highest positions knew. In my previous life, I remember that after returning to the country, Hua Yanqing started from scratch, established his own company, did well in business, and was ranked among the richest businessmen many times. If he were to inherit Shu Corporation, perhaps the group would be taken to a new level. In less than a few days, the online public opinion was quickly suppressed by the strongest public relations team known as the crisis management machine of Shu Corporation. Netizens also began to think that Xu Jizhou and I could not really break up. After all, the relationship between the Xu family and the Mo family had lasted for decades and was also tied to countless interests. Could it be that just because of a first love, everything would be ruined? Even the matter of donating a kidney gradually fell into silence. One person did not want to go on the operating table, the other did not dare to lie on the operating table. It was truly a tragic comedy. And such a good play, wouldn't it be a waste not to continue? Shu Corporation has a small media company that specializes in making short videos, skits, and short films. Compared to other companies, this company is quite small in scale. Although Xu Jichu was nominally in charge, he barely paid any attention, and Xu Guanping paid even less attention. Therefore, the change of the company's new manager was also ignored by Xu Jichu for the sake of formality. In just a few days, a series of short films suddenly appeared online. The content revolved around a lovesick young man who resolutely broke up with Qingmei Zhuma because his ex-lover was seriously ill and married Bai Ngoi Quang, touching to the point of tears. There were stories of lovesick young men donating kidneys, livers, and even lungs for their ex-lovers, all sorts of continuous variations. The promotional campaign was massive, covering all major platforms. The comment below also said, "If it wasn't you, I wouldn't care about blue hair or white clothes in this life. If I had a boyfriend like that, I would have no regrets in this life." All of them were labeled as products of the Hua Group, no different from the content of Hua Chi-Chu asking to break up with me because of an old love, then secretly went for a kidney transplant not long ago. No one doubted the truth of this story. On the contrary, they thought that Hua Chi-Chu deliberately did this to stir up public opinion, forcing his parents to compromise. There was even a papara who took pictures of him taking his mistress abroad for a vacation. The two of them stayed in the villa for 3 days and 3 nights without stepping out of the door, almost confirming all the rumors, forcing the Hua family to the end. My father came home, his face serious, as he said, Hua Guanping was completely disappointed with this son. He sighed and continued, "Shushu, if you want to break up, then break up a son-in-law who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Thick, shallow-minded like this, I don't need you." I heard that and secretly rejoiced immediately, sending a message to Hua Yanqing. "It's your turn to come forward." The news that CEO Hua Jizhou officially broke up with his childhood sweetheart Mo Shu once again caused a storm on the internet. The dramatic plot twists and turns left netizens unable to react. Many people were waiting to see me humiliated and even scolded me for being an abandoned woman. There were also quite a few curious people. The Hua and Mo families had had a close relationship for decades. The Mo family was also the second largest shareholder in the Hua Group after Hua Guanping. Will the two families turn against each other because of this? Just when everyone was still speculating about the direction of the incident, a character suddenly appeared and broke the balance. It was said that the eldest son of the Hua family who had lived abroad was about to return home and would land at the airport today. The news had just spread and shocked public opinion. It turned out that the Hua family Hua also had another son. It turned out that Hua Jichu was not an only child. Papara's father immediately went to the airport to prepare to work and get hot footage. The internet was flooded with pictures and videos recording the moment Hua Yanqing returned to the country. In the frame, he had a mullet hairstyle, wore rimless glasses, had white skin and pink lips, and had delicate features that looked like they had come out of a painting. He was wearing a black suit, walking steadily, the typical appearance of a successful man. Even my father, who always valued his reputation, had to exclaim in praise. This kid had left miserably before, but after more than 20 years he had grown up so well and was much more pleasing to the eye than that blockhead Hua Jichu. I secretly texted Hua Yangqing, "Why are you dressed so fancy? Didn't I say your father was obsessed with looks? You have to make me proud, right?" I didn't reply. After so many years apart, Hua Guanping almost forgot that he had an eldest son. When he met him again, he was stunned speechless. The older a person gets, the more nostalgic he becomes. The guilt in Hua Guanping's heart towards his son, who suddenly returned, grew deeper and deeper. "Dad, I heard that my younger brother broke up with Mo Shu. To tell the truth, when I was abroad, I met Mo Shu once, and I was moved at first sight. But knowing that she was my younger brother's girlfriend, I didn't dare say anything, only daring to keep it to myself. Now that she had broken up, I didn't intend to hide it anymore." That night, the three of us had dinner with the Shu family. In the eyes that Shu Yangqing and I exchanged, everything seemed to have been tacitly decided. The first step was successful, and the big rock in my heart finally fell. It was just that when I got home that night, Shu Jichu came to the door. I told the maid to close the gate tightly, turn off the lights in the yard, and spread mousetraps at the entrance. As soon as it got dark, Shu Jichu's eyesight was not good, and he immediately stepped on a mousetrap. He stood in front of the gate and cursed loudly. "Mosi, do you still have any shame? After serving the younger brother, turned to serve the older brother. Don't you find it disgusting? Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Let me tell you, Shang Yangqing has nothing. He's just a poor man. You will definitely regret it." I opened the door, grabbed a bucket of dog bath water, and threw it straight at him. "Shu Jichu, did you learn this kind of cursing from your mother? As for whether Shu Yangqing has anything good, let your father say it. If you're free to bark here, why don't you go back and please your father? Relying on an out-of-date old woman like your mother probably won't be able to do anything." I heard from my mother that when Shu Jichu's mother became a mistress and demanded her status, she stood in the yard and cursed Shu Yangqing's mother for being old and ugly. Today, I, the future daughter-in-law, will repay this debt on her behalf. Then, when I got home, I was so angry that I threw the basin on the ground. Shu Yangqing sent a message. "Did you really serve Shu Jichu?" I immediately rushed to the second-floor balcony and looked down. Shu Jichu had already left, but not far away. There was a car with its lights on parked there. Damn it! Is this guy obsessed with virginity? I used my own. "Did you hear everything?" "Yeah, then what are you going to do?" "Cancel the contract, it's not that bad." "Then why are you asking that? Don't tell me you're still a virgin." Shu Yangqing's status showed that he was typing a message, but he still hadn't sent anything. Impossible. I was shocked. He's over 30 years old. Has he never been in love? "Are you really still a virgin?" It took a while for him to reply. He didn't care. He was just curious. I also got excited to tease him back. "I'm curious too. Why don't you come up here and see if you're really a virgin?" Hua Yangqing didn't reply anymore. The car downstairs immediately rolled away. "If you want to cooperate for a long time, you must first reassure your partner." Thinking back and forth, I still sent him another message. "Don't listen to Hua Jichu's nonsense. He and I have never gone that far." He replied very quickly. Yeah. And I still need a cute teddy bear like always." This guy is really the type that is calm on the outside but secretive on the inside. The Hua Group started to expand its market overseas. Hua Jichu volunteered to be the pioneer and brought Gu Yuan along. According to him, the medical conditions abroad were better, which was beneficial for Gu Yuan's condition. As a result, he failed miserably in less than 2 months and returned. In his previous life, he succeeded thanks to my father's secret guidance and my brother's connections abroad. But in this life, my father and brother no longer care. His investment of more than 10 billion went down the drain. As for Xu Yanqing, he took over a subsidiary of the Xu Group that was on the verge of bankruptcy. In just 2 short months, he revived the entire company and even made some profits. With Xu Yanqing as an example, Xu Jizhou's incompetence became even more obvious. Xu Guanping was furious and scolded him for being a good-for-nothing. The other senior leaders also began to show their disappointment. All the preparations were almost done. Now that it was time to expose Gu Yuan, I really wanted to see with my own eyes Xu Jizhou's expression when he found out that the woman he had loved for so long was actually not sick. But before I could even make a move, Gu Yuan had already exposed himself. Recently, Xu Jizhou had been constantly bullied by Xu Yanqing and was also hated by Xu Guanping and was extremely depressed. He had not visited Gu Yuan at the villa for several days. Being in the villa was too boring, so Gu Yuan secretly went to the company to find Xu Jizhou. At that time, he was extremely upset, but Gu Yuan was still nagging by his side. "Can you be quiet for a bit? This is where I work, not a place for you to gossip. What are you doing here?" Gu Yuan Yin's big round eyes were filled with tears, looking extremely pitiful. "It was because I didn't have the ability, didn't come forward to help you, causing you to be hated by your father. It's all my fault I'm leaving now and won't be a burden to you anymore," she said and ran out. Hua Jichu threw the stack of documents on the table and also chased after her. "Yuan, if you're going to act, you have to act it out." The elevator didn't come up for a long time. Gu Yuan wanted to create an opportunity for Hua Jichu to chase after her, so she pretended to run up the stairs. Unexpectedly, at that moment, an employee carrying a stack of documents rushed down from the upper floor, hitting Gu Yuan, who was standing at the top of the stairs waiting to be chased. "Ah!" Gu Yuan fell down the stairs, hit her head on the wall and fainted. The ambulance immediately took her to the nearest public hospital. "Doctor, she has kidney failure." Xu Jichu frantically explained to the doctor. After a thorough examination, the doctor calmly said, "She has absolutely no kidney problems." It is said that at that time, Xu Jichu's face was as purple as an eggplant. After waking up, Gu Yuan knelt before him again, crying and complaining how she loved him deeply over the past few years, how she couldn't bear to leave him, and how she had no choice but to do so. I don't know what they said to each other, but Gu Yuan was kicked out of the villa afterwards. I still remember my previous life. Before I died, Xu Jichu once said to me, "I love Yuan deeply. I only hope she can live a long and healthy life. Even if I have to shorten my life, I am willing, but you forced her to die. Now it's good without him shortening her life. Gu Yuan can still live a healthy life, but for some reason, he can't be happy." A few days later, Xu Jichu officially posted a notice of breaking up with Gu Yuan on social media. Immediately, the internet was in an uproar. Someone even joked that the melons in the Xu Group were even more delicious than those in the entertainment industry, both sour and sweet. Just as expected. That day, Xu Yanqing texted me, "Your father is hospitalized." After visiting Xu Guanping, Xu Yanqing and I had just left the hospital room when we saw Xu Jizhou walking towards us dejectedly. I didn't know what Xu Yanqing had eaten or what he was excited about, but he suddenly hugged me tightly and kissed me straight on the lips. I was stunned for a few seconds before I realized it and struggled, but my hands and feet were tightly held by him and I couldn't resist. Luckily, he quickly let go. Just as I was about to open my mouth, he suddenly lowered his head and bit my neck, leaving a tooth mark. I was in so much pain that I had to let out an "ah." Xu Jizhou was stunned and pointed at me angry and hurt. "Mosi, you two have any shame?" Shang Wuqing smiled and calmly replied, "This is my fiance. How can it be called shameful? You've already had an affair with someone else before you broke up with Mo Shu. How can you explain it?" Xu Jichu was hit in the heart. His face was red as a beetroot. He was stuttering and couldn't say anything. Xu Yanqing calmly continued, Oh, by the way, from now on, not everyone can call Mo Shu. You have to call her sister-in-law. And also, don't have any illusions about your sister-in-law anymore. It's disgusting. After saying that, Xu Yangqing held my hand and left. I turned my head to look back. Xu Jichu was standing in front of the hospital room door with his head down, looking like a child who had made a mistake full of regret. Feel sorry. Xu Yanqing's voice was cold. I just didn't expect a virgin like you to act so well. You're not just good at talking. I'm speechless and don't want to argue anymore. In my previous life, Xu Guanping fell ill after Xu Jichu and I had been married for 2 years. My uncle had a stroke and passed away, not having time to leave a will. After he passed away, Xu Jichu's mother took the initiative to give up her inheritance, leaving all the assets to her son. At that time, Xu Yangqing probably still resented his father, so she didn't participate in the fight for the assets. In addition, with my father's strong support, Xu Jichu naturally sat firmly in the chairman's chair. In this life, because Xu Jichu kept causing trouble, it seemed that Xu Guanping's illness came sooner. If something really happened to him, the inheritance would fall into the hands of 3 people, Xu Jichu's mother and Xu Yangqing. Xu Jichu's mother and him each currently hold 10% of the shares. Xu Guanping holds the remaining 40% of the shares. If he did not have time to leave a will, the 20% of the shares that should have belonged to his wife would be divided equally. The remaining 20% would be divided equally by the 3 heirs. Thus, Xu Jichu and his mother would hold more than half of the shares. This was completely disadvantageous to Xu Wuqing. Xu Wuqing had already placed someone beside Xu Jichu. The mother and daughter also started to take action. Not only did they gather factions in the executive board, but Xu Jichu's mother also stood by Xu Guan's bedside day and night in the name of his first wife. If they forged the will or secretly transferred the shares while he was in a coma, it wouldn't be strange. They had to think ahead. But I didn't expect that the person who came to find me would be Gu Yuan. Once again, she knelt down in front of me. I saw that she seemed to really like kneeling. I really didn't want to even glance at her. Miss Mo, I beg you, can you help me this once? I really don't want to lose him. As long as you're willing to help, even if I have to work like a horse, I'll agree. Whoosh! I burst out laughing. I think you found the wrong person. Right now, Xu Jichu and I have nothing to do with each other. What does he want to do to me? Gu Yuan still hasn't given up. Miss Mo, I know Xu Jichu listens to you very much. If she were willing to advise him, he would definitely listen. Hearing this, I only felt bitter. If Xu Jichu had really listened to me, then there was no way I would have to live another life. I stood up and softly advised her. I advised her to be a little more realistic and not to put too much hope in love. I was about to leave when Gu Yuan hugged my leg tightly and cried, Miss Mo, I beg you, please help me. I really can't lose him. I started to feel annoyed and didn't intend to be polite anymore. Did she not want to lose Xu Jichu, or did she not want to lose the chance to become a rich lady? Her words had exposed her greed, and Gu Yuan's face showed a look of confusion and embarrassment. I pushed her hand away and said decisively, Miss Gu, please leave. I can't help you and I won't help you either. Not putting all the hatred from my previous life on her is the limit of my kindness. Gu Yuan was so angry that she jumped up and scolded me straight in the face. Mosi, who do you think you are? If you weren't a daughter of the Mo family, do you think Xu Jizhou would even look at you? You're just reincarnated in the right place. What's there to be so arrogant about? Let me tell you, a rich second generation like you who doesn't have a job and only knows how to spend money is no different from a rice worm. Sooner or later, you'll rot in the middle of a life of debauchery. Slap. I gave her a crisp slap across the face. If you've lost control, then consider this slap as me waking you up. Gu Yuan stared at me with wide eyes in disbelief. You dare to hit me? I laughed coldly. You don't even hesitate to kneel before me, so what if I slap you? You slut! Gu Yuan rushed forward to fight me. Luckily, she was stopped by the maid in time. Even in my own house you dare to make trouble. I waved my hand to signal the maid to pull her out. Gu Yuan struggled. Mostly a worm like you will get your retribution sooner or later. The cursing outside finally quieted down. I angrily took out my phone intending to call Xu Yangqing to discuss the next step, but at that moment a terrifying thought suddenly flashed through my mind. Could it be that someone was planning to kill Gu Yuan and then blame me? In my previous life, after I announced the kidney transplant results, Gu Yuan jumped to her death that very day. As soon as I finished announcing it, she died. Everyone believed that she committed suicide because she couldn't bear the shock, and everyone thought that I forced her to death. Even Xu Zhizhou believed so. What a cruel trick. This time Gu Yuan had just left my house. Could it be that someone also killed her to silence her, and then made up a rumor that she committed suicide because I humiliated her? Thinking of this, I immediately stood up. As soon as I opened the door, I bumped into Xu Jichu, who was about to raise his hand to knock. Xu, you finally agreed to see me. Xu Jichu was overjoyed. I didn't have the energy to care about him anymore, so I immediately pushed him away and walked away. He quickly chased after me, blocking my way. "Where are you going?" I said angrily. "Xu Jichu, I'm your sister-in-law now. Where I go has nothing to do with you. I warn you, if you continue to mess with me, I won't let you go." Xu Jichu was still standing in front of me. What sister-in-law? He didn't admit it. Shushu, he was wrong. This time he really realized his mistake. It was Gu Yuan who tricked him. She pretended to be sick to gain his pity and sympathy. "I've broken up with her now. Please forgive me. We were childhood sweethearts. We grew up together." Could it be that the more than 20 years of our relationship are not as good as the few months you've known Hua Yanqing? I thought that if Hua Zhizhou went with me, he might still be able to help. This time I must catch the person behind it at all costs. I want to see with my own eyes who it is. Get in the car with me. Stop. When Hua Zhizhou and I ran to the hospital rooftop, Gu Yuan's body was half pushed out to the edge, almost falling down. The man was facing away from us, and when he heard the scream, he slowly stood up. Then he turned around. "It's you." Li Yang smiled coldly at me. "Mo Shu, we will meet again." Li Yang used to be my brother's classmate, but he was a morally corrupt person, not only harassing female students, but also secretly taking nude photos and selling them. I once went to my brother's house to play for a few days and accidentally caught him harassing a female student. I did not hesitate to testify in court, causing him to be expelled from school and deported back to his country. "But why is he here?" Gu Yuan said, that he was her main doctor and had been monitoring her condition for a long time, so he did not want to change people. That is why he transferred him to this hospital, to be her main doctor. Xu Jizhou explained. No wonder no one discovered that she was faking her illness for so long. She really brought this upon herself. Gu Yuan saw Xu Jizhou and was immediately overjoyed, shouting, "Help! Help me!" Jizhou, quickly save me, but Xu Jizhou's disgusted expression was as if he just wanted her to fall. "Li Yang, are you planning to kill someone to silence her to get revenge on me?" Li Yang smiled terrifyingly. "Mosi, I am helping you. This slut ruined your relationship. Doesn't she deserve to die? If I just push her lightly, she will be finished. At most, she will only be criticized a little by public opinion. Li Yang, if she dies, you also have to pay with your life. Is it worth it?" Li Yang suddenly became agitated. His eyes were red as if he had gone crazy. "Worth it, very worth it. Do you know how hard I had to work to study abroad? How can people who were born with everything understand our hardships? It was you who ruined everything for me. As long as I make her suffer, I will die willingly." And he did it. In my previous life, I died a miserable death because he was acting more and more crazy. Gu Yuan was pushed closer to the edge of the wall, screaming in horror. "Li Yang, the police are coming. It's still too late to stop now." As soon as I finished speaking, the sound of a police siren rang out downstairs. Angered Li Yang lifted Gu Yuan's leg up, intending to throw it down. I didn't have time to think and rushed forward recklessly. Gu Yuan wasn't allowed to die. Gu Yuan was pushed off the railing, a razor blade suddenly stabbed towards me. I don't remember clearly how the chaotic scene unfolded. I only remember one thing. Xu Jichu's face was covered in blood, just like in my previous life, when I vomited blood on his face. In the intensive care unit, Xu Jichu was lying on the hospital bed. His whole body was plugged with monitoring devices, looking exactly like the image I had seen of myself in my previous life. Hearing the noise, he slowly opened his eyes. He was calling my name. I walked closer, our eyes met for a split second, making me pause. His originally arrogant and carefree eyes suddenly became heavy, as if filled with a lifetime of experience. I understood that he had also come back to life. "Finally, I get to see you again. You hate me so much, right?" His voice was weak, almost without strength. I didn't say anything. Only now did he realize how stupid he was, how much of a failure he was, being turned around like a pinwheel and losing a good person like you. Can you forgive him? I shook my head. "Xu Jichu, do you know what I hated most about you in my previous life?" "What was it?" "During the 5 years of our marriage, I had 5 miscarriages and my health was getting worse and worse. Every time I saw you laughing and joking with someone else's child, I felt guilty. It was only later that I found out that the one who killed our child was you. Were you the one who put poison in the water?" I drank that day. Suddenly his eyes widened, and he started to gasp as if he was choking. I coldly stepped on the oxygen tube, just like he had done to me in my previous life. "Xu Jichu, whether it was this life or the previous life, what's past should be left alone. Hatred, love, and hate. When life is gone, there's nothing left." He opened his mouth and said with difficulty, See, if God gave you a chance to go back if you survive, can we still start over?" I shook my head again. "Xu Jichu, you can't survive." The knife had pierced his kidney and the doctor was helpless. He was only brought back to life because the debt between us had not been settled. I looked at the medical monitor. It was time for him to repay me for this life. The day Xu Jichu died was also the day I died in my previous life. When karma comes, you pay and everything is over. A few days later, Xu Guanping could not bear the shock and also passed away. Before he died, he left a will giving all 40% of the shares in his hands to Xu Yangqing. With the support of my father, Xu Yangqing officially became the new chairman of the Xu Group. Xu Jichu's mother, because she had lost her son and had not received a single cent of her assets, became paranoid and suspicious of everything. She began to doubt the legitimacy of the will. Finally, Xu Yangqing made the decision to send Xu Jichu's mother to a mental hospital. When he returned, I was standing in the yard. "What were you doing standing out here?" I raised my head, closed my eyes, and faced the sun. "Sunbathing, aren't you afraid of getting dark?" I didn't bother to answer. After a while, he spoke. Actually, he had always been curious. How did the knife stab Hua Jichu? That day, Shang Wuqing looked at me as if he was thinking about something. "The knife stabbed towards you, of course you had to dodge. Didn't you know that it was Hua Jichu behind you?" "Of course you knew, but could you just stand there and watch the knife stab you to death?" Xu Wuqing laughed, nodded. "That makes sense." Xu Yanqing, "Yeah, I mean it's better to cancel our wedding." Shang Wuqing was a little stunned, but didn't say anything. After a while, he softly called, See what? This is the first time you've called me by such an intimate name." I turned my head to look at him. The sunlight shining on his body made his whole figure strangely warm. He reached out to hug me gently, whispering, "I want to be your son." The first year after marriage, we had a son. The third year, we welcomed a daughter. Sure enough, I did not choose the wrong person. Under Hua Yangqing's hand, Hua Ti Group rose to new heights. Because of that, many girls gradually appeared around him, but he always kept to himself, never getting into any trouble. I once joked, "When do you plan to change wives?" He covered me with the blanket and laughed. He could not let his child have the same childhood as him. Perhaps people have to go through enough bitterness to know what it means to cherish. For the rest of his life, he only hopes to live leisurely among the people slowly passing the years. Thank you for listening to the story at Ken Stories. I hope you have relaxing and fun moments. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe so I have more motivation to make more videos.